You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with Adam Keller and Jacob Morrison.
The next thing that unions bargain for that they're going to try to twist into a bad thing is, is job descriptions, is making it like, if you are assigned to a job, making it so that your job description is defined and you can't be made to go outside of your job description without additional pay, right? Or how else would you describe that kind of clause in a contract? I'm not terribly familiar with it myself, but it's really common in a lot of contracts. Can you explain that for us, Connor?
Depending on exactly how it's written, it's not really diversion of work, but basically if you're working outside of your classification, the interpretation usually from unions is that you should get paid for the rate of the work that you're doing. So, if you're paid, let's say you're a high school paraprofessional and they assign you to some custodial work and you normally get paid, $12 and custodial gets paid $15. For the time that you're doing that custodial work, you should be getting paid $15 rather than $12 because that's the value that the contract assigns to that work. Right. And so just kind of figuring out is this within my job or is it within a different job under the same contract, and what rate am I going to get paid? I don't know that there's really necessarily an umbrella term for it, but kind of that's a typical way that unions will look at, working outside of a job description or classification.
All right. Yeah. And so the folder that this is under, Adam, is rigidity. Let's go. Let's play that the first video there and see what they say about this phenomenon in contracts.
If the unions did try to organize target team members, they could also try and bring along their way of doing business, an old-fashioned rigid structure.
Old-fashioned is right. Being able to change quickly and adapt to new opportunities, being flexible. That's the key to running a successful business in today's market, and we've got the flexibility now.
Right you are. No one knows exactly what could happen, but there are lots of examples of how rigid grocery store union contracts could hurt our store's ability to serve guests and actually hurt our team members in the process.
Sorry, I thought there was that wasn't the one I was thinking about. Go to the second one in that folder.
There's actually not a second one.
Oh, there's not a second one?
Not
okay.
under rigid
Man.
structure, no.
Oh, man, I'm sorry about that. Well, so the video that I was thinking of, they gave a situation where a customer needed something in a different department in the store, and the worker wouldn't be able, under this imaginary union contract, they wouldn't be able to help this customer, right? And I mean, it's this, again, that's not the type of contract that you're actually going to see, right?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about trying to play that out, I mean, an employee will, even if they're, assigned to one department or something, they can at least direct you to the right person for the next one. I mean, I don't even understand, a contract wouldn't create that problem. I don't understand their argument as far as it creating a situation where customer service, suffers. But I mean, I think that taking the example of a grocery store, if you've got for example, a cashier that's getting paid at a certain rate, and then you ask them to go work in the back, in the back of the store, stocking shelves or something, and that's a different classification paid at a different rate, and maybe potentially a higher rate, then, I mean, they can still be directed to do that. There's nothing stopping management from having someone work outside of classification. It's purely a question of what rate are they going to get paid.
Right. And is management willing to do that? Maybe you could concoct a scenario where management is simply not willing to pay a cashier stocking money. And so therefore, under the rules that management has created, cashiers can't do this or that thing. And maybe that makes it more rigid. But that's a result of management.
Right. I mean, realistically, a lot of kind of union busting rhetoric is actually stuff that is ultimately the fault of management that they're then punting onto unions as they're the bad guys. I mean, it's the same thing when you get a lot of these kinds of, one of the things I constantly hear is, greedy unions closing down factories. And it's no, it's unions expecting a reasonable, like refusing to take concessions. That's not greed. That's corporate greed that unions are standing up to. But suddenly it becomes, greedy unions are closing down factories. It's in that same situation, it's them placing a management problem. We don't want to pay someone the actual value of the work that they're doing and then making it somehow the union's, fault.
If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We are on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. And if you missed part of the show and want to watch it later, you can go to YouTube at The Valley Labor Report. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps, so you can find us on your listening platform of choice at thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We have a website where you can buy our hats and stickers. Somebody accidentally bought too many, so we thought we were out, but we've got 2 more that were returned. So if you still want a hat, we've got 2 more left. That is thevalleylaborreport.org. And the best way that you can support the show is by throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.